The first step in dressing the loom is slaying the reed. Get some long dowels, or here I have scrap wood, long enough so they can rest on either side of your loom. Put those on either side of the crosses that you made when you were measuring out your warp, and you can now untie the choke ties you had holding those crosses in place. Now your warp is stabilized and the string will stay in order. I wanted to mention there's a couple of different ways to slay the reed and deal with these double crosses. And one of the reasons why I use the stick method is because it really makes me feel confident that my weave is sturdy and it's not going to fall apart. If I do the finger thing, there's a fingering way of doing it, which I'll show you in a different video. But if I do that fingering way, inevitably I have to put it down because the phone rings or somebody comes to the door or whatever happens. So that's one reason why I use this stick method. So slaying the reed is taking this little tool, which is a reed hook, and you're going to stick it into each individual slot in the reed and pull each of your warp threads through. So I'll show you how that looks close up, and we'll slay our reed across. This is what our aim is, that each individual thread goes through one of the individual spaces on your reed. I usually cut the thread in small batches, maybe at something like an inch worth of string. And this is because I know if I have to step away that the rest of my warp is secure. So you take your reed hook, you put it through the slot and pull your string through. It's pretty easy, and yet it's pretty meditative. Slayed your reed, and we're ready for our next step to actually threadle our pattern. In order to thread our harnesses, we need to understand the pattern. So this is our pattern. Patterns are always read left to right. We're doing the Marie Andre. These are all the variations that you can do with this same tie-up. This is what we're looking at right now. These are the heddles on our loom. If we look at them, heddle 1 is on the bottom. So this is heddle 1, 2, 3, 4. When we're threading our pattern, we're going to thread heddle 4, heddle 3, heddle 2, heddle 1, heddle 2, heddle 1, heddle 2, heddle 3, heddle 4, heddle 1, heddle 4, heddle 3, heddle 2, heddle 2, heddle 3, heddle 4, heddle 1. And then it starts over. So there's 18 threads per each pattern. That's why we have 18 threads in each color, so you can really see this pattern coming out. This is what we use when we're actually weaving. So we're just looking at this right now. And I thread each heddle in the correct order to form my pattern. And again, it takes time, but it can be quite relaxing. Now that we have slayed the reed, we've threaded the heddles on the harnesses, and now we're going to tie it to the back warp beam. Now I'm going to tie it to the back beam. So let me turn this around so you can see. make a drink. So hold on, I'm gonna go make a drink because I just saw my swivel sticks and I was all like, ooh, a nice dark and stormy sounds good when I'm weaving. So I will be right back. A little bit about warping front to back rather than back to front. You can do it both ways, and really 6 is 1/2 dozen, but I prefer front to back because I feel I have more control over the tension. If I get to a point where my tension's off, I feel it's easier for me to correct it when I warp in this way. So everybody does it different, and I should try it I should try it back to front, do something new. On we go. Now we're going to tie it to our back beam, and here's my back beam. And most of them have these removable sticks. I have tied on just to the attached rod before, but because I want to weave every single inch of thread that I have, I'm going to use the method that makes sure you have as little warp waste as possible. And if you remember, we still have the option of doing fringe or not doing fringe. We measured it out doing fringe, and then we'll see how we like it, if we want fringe or not on our placemats. See how they look. Okay, bit of a disaster. This one thread is not threaded through a heddle. We're gonna have a teachable moment, and let me show you. And here's a floating string with no heddle. We're gonna be adding a number 4 heddle. In my pattern, I have 3, 4, 1, and I have number 3 and number 1, and the number 4 string is floating. So we're gonna be adding a number 4 heddle, and I'm gonna show you how to do that. Why do I have 10 bags of random string ends? For situations just like this. To add a harness here, the first thing I'm going to do is measure twice the width of the harness. Ooh, look at that. That's the perfect size. I folded the string in half and put a knot at the halfway point. That way, when I loop the string under my lower harness, I know exactly where the halfway point of the string is, and this is important because I need to make sure I have enough string at the top to knot it at the top to finish off this string harness. Looping it through the bottom. I know where the knot is, so I know where to stop. And then I take these 2 pieces and I bring them up to where the heddles are, and I make a knot there. There you go, and you can see the eye is here. I don't know if you can see that because of the shadow. The eye is here, and then there's where my heddle is. So I want the next knot to be about right here. Now that I made the eye of my heddle, I need to tie it at the top. Bring it up to the top. You just tie a regular knot at the top. Our trusted heddle hook. Hi guys! Yeah. Thread the heddle hook through. Hook your yarn. And pull it back through. Now that we have slayed the reed and threaded our pattern, we are ready to tie to the back apron rod and roll on to the cloth beam. Next time, we will also be talking about tension as we finish dressing our loom. If you would like to learn more about me, please visit me at patreon.com, Warped a Work in Progress. You can also find my website, warpedaworkinprogress.com, or of course you can see your free weaving tutorials on Warped a Work in Progress youtube.com. I can't wait for us to meet next time when we finish dressing our loom.